afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for joining this member-to-member sharing session. This member-to-member sharing session is held as part of our effort to enable collaboration between ALIA members. The objective is to allow information exchange on practical issues in our lubricant industry. So this member-to-member sharing session will not accommodate any company or product promotion. It's more on the information exchange on our experience-based learning, either it's in the operational or customer service, or also in our sales activities. So it's not only about technical, but also operational, production, sales and marketing, and also in the supply chain. So anything based on experience-based learning, we are very happy if you can share your experience to another member through this platform. This platform is part of 4 benefits that provided by ALIA. As you might heard before in our annual meeting last September, we have business networking and promotion platform, resources and support, advocacy and industry partnership, and the last is the learning platform. So as I mentioned, this member-to-member sharing session is different with the other training seminar. Is more on the experience-based learning. Before we start, please allow me to remind you or inform you that aside than this member-to-member sharing platform, we also have a network platform, ALIA, that part of the Mighty network application, and we are inviting you and your colleagues to join the network so we can grow the network and obtain optimum benefit in this networking. So I think that's the most practical benefit that we can get from this association. So let me introduce first about Brahma. Brahma Putra is a technical specialist of high-speed diesel engine oil application. His background is mechanical engineering, also MLT1 certified. He has 9 years experience in technical service of lubricant and lubrication. So the question that going to be answered from his presentation is how the biodiesel regulatory mandatory in Indonesia affecting the lubricant industry. We will have a question and answer session, but anytime you have a question, please text it in our chat box, and we will have the answer after the presentation. Mas Brahma, you have 30 minutes, and the time is yours.
Okay, thank you, Mbak Mia. Okay, let me share my screen. Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. It's been an honor for me to have such opportunity to give some sharing session to ALIA members. Mbak Mia has introduced me, but let me introduce myself. Before that, is it my presentation and my sound are clearly received, Mbak Mia? Okay.
Yes, Mas.
Okay. So let me introduce myself first. My name is Brahma Putra Mahayana. I'm from PT Pertamina Lubricants Indonesia. My office is in Jakarta. I'm born in 1986 in Semarang, so I'm about 35 years old. My education is I'm a bachelor's degree in mechanical engineering from Gadjah Mada University in Yogyakarta, Indonesia. And I'm certified in MLT1, Machinery Lubrication Technician, from International Council of Machinery Lubrication. And I also certified in Wokesa gas engine, and also in SDMIF transformer management. Before joining with PT Pertamina Lubrikan, I have some experience in paper mill, in Asia Pulp and Paper, and after that I worked in power plant as a operator turbine, and after that have in engineering in auxiliary and balance of plant at Indramayu Coal Fire Power Plant. I joined with PT Pertamina Lubrikan 2011 and until 2018 as a field engineer, sales region 4 at PT Pertamina Lubrikan. And from 2018 until now, I'm in the position of junior technical specialist of high-speed diesel engine oil at PT Pertamina Lubrikan. So basically, about 9 to 10 years in the field of lubricant and lubrication. Okay, let us continue. So, what is the background of the implementation of biofuel in Indonesia? So, biofuel in Indonesia is based on government regulation number 12, year 2015, about the provision, utilization, and administration of biofuel as other fuel. Now, even though our president, Joko Widodo, wants to implement mandatory use of B30 in January 2020 and increase the bio content until 50% by the end of 2020, but until now, we still use the B30 in Indonesia. So the roadmap is start with 2015 in some sectors like micro enterprise, fishery, agriculture, transportation, and public service obligation, and also 15% in transportation non-PSO, industry and commercial, and 25% in power generation. But right now, in 2021, most of all sectors are using the 30% of biofuel as their fuel. Now, the biodiesel that used now is refers to vegetable oil or animal fat-based diesel fuel consisting of long-chain alkyl ester. So, in short, this is what we call as FAME. FAME or FAME stands for fatty acid methyl ester. And the notation or the numbering of the biodiesel is, for example, B20 means it consists of 20% of fatty acid methyl ester and 80% diesel fuel. Right now in Indonesia, we are using B30, means 30% of FAME and 70% of diesel fuel. So the FAME itself produced by esterification of vegetable oil. So basically vegetable oil or other animal fat combined with react with alcohol with some catalyst, they are producing glycerin and FAME. The update is now the glycerin is lesser glycerin, and the quality of the FAME is increasing from day to day. We can use a lot of types feedstock, but commonly we using vegetable oil such as palm oil, rapeseed oil, and soybean oil. Now in Indonesia, because we have a lot of palm plantation, and naturally we use palm oil as our main feedstock for biodiesel. Now, this table show us about the FAME composition of various biodiesel source. So the blue one, the blue color is indicate straight chain carbon, ya, straight chain carbon without branch or without double bond, ya. So like C220 means its hydrocarbon consists of 22 C atom that link together without no branch or no double bond. And the yellow and the orange, it indicate C22. One means that it has one branch or one double bond. And the red one and the dark red, the red one is said C18-2 and C18-3 for the dark red. It means it has 2 or 3 branch or double bond. Now, different type of FAME source, ya, different type of FAME source like palm, pork fat, rape, soya, and sunflower have different composition of the chain carbon molecular. We can see that palm oil will have approximately 50% of the zero type or the straight chain carbon molecule, and maybe about 40% the one branch or one bond, and only maybe 10% of the chain molecule have a branch or double bond. This is very different with, for example, sunflower, that sunflower has maybe 10% of the zero, means the straight carbon molecule, and maybe about 20% of the one branch or one double bond, and most of it consists of two bond, ya, two double bond or two brands. Now, one of the research shows that with the increase of the branch or with the double bond of the molecular will increase susceptibility to oxidation, means palm oil will better or will have better oxidation stability than sunflower oil. Now the information here is the impact of biofuel use in one area or one country can be different with other country, with the differences in the source of FAME that it use. So perhaps in Indonesia, the impact will be different in other countries that may be use biofuel from soya or from sunflower. About the blending process itself, in Indonesia, we separate the FAME and the diesel fuel in each tank. So when the customer needs or when the product is going to transport to customer, we will blend it in our filling sheet and then going to transport to customer. Now this is because of limitation of our facility and also to localize if there are problem in the FAME, for example, because as later on we will discuss, FAME or biodiesel has some decremental or negative characteristic. This is the characteristic of the fuel from B0 until B30. Slightly, of course, there is a lot of different. Number one is about the Cetan number. We can see that from B0 to B30, the Zeta number is the Zeta number trend is increase, yeah. So it's increased with the increation of Fame that is used. Now, this will consequence in our combustion timing. So with higher Zeta numbers mean your fuel is faster to burn, faster to combust. Yeah. So when you not change or you don't reset the timing of combustion, and your fuel is faster to combust, the worst case is you have a detonation, or the combustion happens faster before the top dead zone. So you must change or reset the setting of your timing to adjust with the Zeta number of the Fame. The next one, and the next characteristic that interesting to see is about the water content. So you can see the water content from B0 until B30 is increased. In B30 is almost more than twice, yeah, more than twice from the B0. Means that B30 or biofuel or Fame has a higher water content, ya. Higher water content depends than pure fuel, diesel fuel, ya, without Fame. Now this can lead into a lot of trouble, like easily to oxidize, corrosion, corrosion, and one of it is bacterial growth. Yeah, we will discuss it later. And of course, the lubricity is lower with the increase of the Fame. So we expect that wear could be happen when we are using biofuel. The probability to wear in the injection especially. Now, the other impact of Fame is in the heating value. So this table show us that with more percentage of the Fame composition will decrease the heating value of the fuel. So basically, the power that can be achieved is become lower, yeah. The power that produced from the fuel will be lower, and yeah, in some area this will become a problem. Now the biodiesel characteristic, some of its characteristic like hygroscopic biodiesel tends to absorb humidity in the air. This can lead to accumulation of water content, which is part of oxidation promoter. Yeah, so we can see in the data earlier that with higher Fame content, they will have a higher water content. That's because the biodiesel absorb humidity in the air. And the second characteristic is oxidation stability. So biodiesel can oxidize during storage and handling, leading to formation with peroxide, gums, acid, and deposit. Now, this also promoted by the hygroscopic character. With water presence, the oxidation will increase. Another characteristic of biodiesel is its material compatibility. So components like copper, such as bronze, brass, lead, tin, and zinc, indicates potential compatibility problems if those material used for tank or fuel system inline. So we must be careful with the material compatibility. Another characteristic of the biodiesel is its solvency. So biodiesel is an excellent solvent for cleaning any hydrocarbon deposits that may have formed in fuel system. So actually it has a good effect, yeah, have excellent solvent characteristic. But the bad news, those deposits from the fuel tank, from the fuel system, and from the hose will be transported into your combustion room. So it will, yeah, maybe will clog your injector and will make the combustion become more and more dirty. So that's the characteristic, the solvency characteristic of the biodiesel. And the unique characteristic of the biodiesel is it promote microbial growth, like bacteria, fungi are present in biodiesel fuel, and those bugs which feed on hydrocarbons, if left unchecked, can contribute to filter plugging and corrosion, as well as other operational problems. So basically, you have a microorganism in your fuel, and those bacteria will live in the water, yeah, will live in water, and it will consume the fuel. And as the bacteria or as the microorganism is active, yeah, they will produce side product, yeah, side product uh, like sludge, like yeah, sludge, yeah, sludge that later on will contribute to filter plugging, and also it will produce or promote corrosion. Impact to lube oil, there's a lot of research about impact of biofuel to lube oil, but in general, biodiesel FAME and its degradation products are lubricants contaminants, and it can potential induce oxidation of lubricant, induce piston deposits, and induce soft metal corrosion of bearing surface and wear. So basically, biodiesel FAME and its degradation products are lubricants contaminant. And the field of lubricant, we know that contaminants are enemy of our lube oil, yeah. And most of problem related to oil, problem happens with oil related to contaminant. So in general, those are impact of the biofuel to lube oil. Now, if the main issue in the fuel system have already resolved, no great impact reported in lube oil. Yeah, because the first thing that damage is not the oil, but is the fuel system itself. So if the customer is resolve the issue with the fuel system, usually we don't have a problem with the lube oil. But if poor fuel system and no good housekeeping practice, then the lube oil may having some problem, such as due to imperfect combustion, more soot are generated. So the lube oil need to work harder to clean and disperse soot and deposit. So it will need oil with better soot handling and dispersency. And the second problem is because biodiesel will promote hotter combustion chamber temperature. So because the temperature is rise, then lube oil degrades faster. Viscosity index improver polymers will crack. So the oil will need better base oil and better additive to overcome thermal degradation. And the third problem usually happens in biofuel application is the unburned fuel accumulation leads to a rise in fuel dilution probability. So not every time is going to be fuel dilution, but the probability will arise. Now, loop oil expected to still have enough wear protection even though lost its viscosity. So basically, yes, biofuel have some impact to lubricant, but we can resolve it by either resolve in the fuel system or increase or using a better type of lube oil. And another strategy to counter it is using the same oil or existing oil right now that we are using, but to cut the drain interval mainly half. Some OEM state this in their service bulletin, like for example, GE in General Electric. So they suggest to cut the drain interval mainly half. This is one of the example of impact of biofuel when we see in oil analysis example. This is one of our customer in Indonesia. You see that the main point is the TBN is drop. TBN drop below limit. It indicates oil degradation or fuel contamination. And another aspect is we have soot and oxidation rise above normal. So basically, yeah, we have some sample, yeah, we have some sample and some oil analysis, and sometimes it happens. And the impact of the biofuel will decrease the TBN, will make the TBN drop, and will rise the soot and oxidation. So main issue in biofuel usage mostly is clogged injectors, damaged fuel pumps, bacteria growth, failed seal, blocked filter, and some cases there are oil degradation or leakage. But like I said earlier, the impact to oil actually is not as big as impact to fuel system. So before the oil became bad of the biofuel, the fuel system and the combustion will have the impact first, and the oil will degrade. Yeah, it's just after effect after the fuel system problem. So this is the main issue in biofuel usage. Now let us talk about how is industry, how is the B30 regulation affecting in industry. So we start with marine industry. In marine industry, there are two types engine that they are used. The first one is a low and medium speed engine, and the second is the high speed engine. So in low and medium speed engine, actually they don't have much problem with B30 because they already customized with even more severe fuel quality like MFO. So in low and medium speed marine engine, B30 fuel have better acceptance due to its lower price than very low sulfur fuel oil. The only concern is reduced power when using B30. So in marine, as slide from B30, there is also regulation for using VLSFO, yeah, very low sulfur fuel oil. Now, because its price is higher, so basically B30 have better acceptance in low and medium speed marine engine. But the drawback is power will become reduced. Those the concern about using B30 in low and medium speed engine in marine. Now, high-speed diesel engine, mostly MTU, MAN, Volvo, Cummins, Caterpillar, and those who already implemented common rail high-pressure pump, facing a lot of difficulties such as filter fuel blocking and worn injector. But for non-common rail high-speed diesel engine like Yanmar, Niigata, and some China OEM, only filter blocking issue are reported. So yeah, it's different. Again, it's different. Like in low and medium speed, in high speed also different when they are already implement common high rail pressure pump or for non-common rail high-speed diesel engine.
Mas
Now,
Brahma,
yes.
you have 5 minutes in remain.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
take your
will
time
do
anyway.
that. Okay. So in marine, it's quite difficult to have improvement in fuel system like modified tank, add more filter, and so on because limited space. So in general, marine industry respond moderately for the B30 issue. Main strategy include reduce fuel filter lifetime, reduce lubricating oil lifetime, and more cost allocated for maintenance. Now, different in marine, also different in fleet industry. The bus and truck and also passenger or commercial car actually don't do much in response to B30 because their OEM have already take some action like Hino, Mercedes-Benz, UD, and Mitsubishi. They already proclaim that claim that their vehicle are ready to use B30. But what is exactly what they do? So some of it, one of the example like what Hino does, it enlarge fuel filter size and capacity. They give nickel plating on the fuel pipe and fuel sender gates, change fuel hose material into fluororubber. They give aluminum plating for fuel tank, and they give extra strainer addition in fuel system. Those packages are installed in new vehicle, but for older vehicle that already sold to customer, they also provide with retrofit package that sometimes they give it free or promotional to their customer. Now, in mining and power generation industry, due to biodiesel fuel usage had dropped down the fuel character under their equipment requirement, the mining and power generation industry have a great concern with B30 impact. So in response to mitigate that issue, they came up with improvement in every step of fuel transfer system. So basically, they do something about the fuel system or the fuel handling in every steps of the fuel distribution. Like in the left is fuel handling in mining industry. So we can see they add some filter, they mostly add filter ya, hot filter, separator, and dehydrator. And in the right is the example of fuel treatment in power generation industry. Basically add some filter and separator. Now this is case study of one of our customer in mining industry in East Indonesia. This is the existing or initial fuel handling workflow from fuel tanker. Actually, they have filter and they store it in storage tank, and then main storage tank into daily tank, and then distribute to unit that needs the fuel. Now, this is the existing workflow. And because of implementation of B30, they modified their fuel handling system with using new fuel filtration system. They install new fuel circulation system, and they modified some line and something like that. And we can see this is the example from existing in left, and the improvement consists of installation of additional filter, replacement of filter element, the replacement of flow meter, and modifying the pipeline. This is also another improvement, like replace flow meter, install new filter, modification of fuel expenditure pipeline, and addition of safety system on the fuel discharge line. Also the same, it replaced the flow meter, it install new filters, modifying the pipeline, and add some safety system. And this is to build new system for fuel circulation on 850 kL fuel storage tank. So in this customer, they spend about approximately 300,000 US dollar ya to improve their fuel system, so B30 ready. So that's one of the example of in customer ya. So extra cost for B30 implementation, if I can divide it, it is divided into two categories. Initial cost consists of new filter, new fuel circulation system, new water separation system, and improvement in existing fuel system, like change the host material and something like that. And also the second category is operating costs, like material costs, like more filter element, more injector part, more increase in loop oil consumption. Also the labor costs, because of more frequent maintenance, more to-do list in every shift, and also there are breakdown costs when your unit is having a breakdown because impact of the fuel. Now, initial cost looks like very big in first, yeah, like earlier, 300,000 US dollar, yeah, quite big, yeah. This makes a lot of industry think more of implementing it, but in long term, those improvement will actually reduce operating costs. Vice versa, if the industry chose to step over initial costs, it may save some in advance, but more operating costs must be prepared in the long run. So the strategy is different. Some industry invest in initial cost, but the other industry maybe, yeah, it's okay. I just allocated more cost in my operating costs. Now, in summary, this biofuel regulation affecting industry in different scale depends on the current fuel being used and the character of the industry. So like in marine, because they already used to using MFO, the more severe fuel, the more bad fuel. So actually they don't mind about the B30, but in mining, in power generation, now they concerns a lot about this. So mining industry spend extra cost for improvement in fuel system higher than other industry. Yes, because mining industry is a very competitive industry, yeah, very competitive industry, and uh, they concern a lot about the improvement in fuel system. Now, loop oil facing new challenges. More severe condition demands better property in field of soot handling, dispersency, thermal degradation, and also wear protection. I think that's all that I can share now. Hopefully the time is enough.
Yeah,
And I return it to Mbak Mia. Thank you.
thank you, Mas Brahma. So let's start with our question and answer session. Anyone that would like to raise a question, please just raise your hand. I think it's meanwhile we are waiting for the first question, Mas Brahma. I think it's interesting, yeah, because I heard the government of Indonesia also plan to increase the content of FAME to 40 and 50% in the next 1 or 2 years ahead. Yeah. So how the industry preparing themselves to this B40 or B50?
Yes, actually, maybe if no COVID, yeah, mostly it's because pandemic, yeah. Maybe Indonesia now is try to use B50 like Mr. Jokowi asked, yeah, like Mr. Jokowi asked. But because of pandemic and maybe another reason, right now we are still in B30. In general, the study of using B40, B50, and even B100 is also conducted. Yeah. Like in one of our customer, they try or they have a trial of using B100. So mostly most of industry are preparing for those scenario. I mean, it is mandatory, it's regulatory. Just only wait soon or later the FAME will increase. So the industry must prepare, and right now they are preparing themselves. They are preparing themselves for the by making a trial, by making a research and something else.
Okay. Thank you, Mas Brahma. We have Mr. Taufik Setiawan raising his hand. Pak Taufik, please.
Thank you, Mbak Mia. Mas Brahma, I want to ask you about so in regards to the additional device implemented by the most OEM, like you mentioned, Mercedes-Benz and Volvo, do they also mention the loop oil requirement? For instance, normally Mercedes-Benz put MB blah, 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 if the customer use the biodiesel or not. First question. Second question, do you think that filtration is the main problem when we use the biodiesel? And how do you confident that the improvement on the filter system and also the fuel system on the customer facility would be beneficial on the future application of, like, for instance, B40 or B50? Thank you.
Thank you, Mas Taufik. Okay, for the first question, our OEM also demands higher or better quality lubricant in what if they use the biofuel. In my experience, it is very it depends on the OEM. So not every OEM what they demand the higher loop oil, yeah. Mercedes-Benz maybe the one that I sure most is Mercedes-Benz and General Electric. Yeah, they state in their service bulletin that if you are using the biofuel like B30 or B20, then you must use oil or you must use lubricant with certain types or the higher grade of specification. But not every OEM do this, most of it. So it backs to OEM, yeah. Not every OEM do this. Some of the OEM, yes, they require something like this. Another OEM, they suggest to reduce the train interval. So basically, if they maybe if they using like the oil in perhaps 20,000 kilometers maybe, and if they are using biofuel, they suggest to reduce the oil train interval until 10,000, yeah, I think 10,000 if I'm not mistaken, something like that. But it's different. Not every OEM is the same, is not the same response in every OEM. Some of them yes, but some of them are not. That's for the first question, yeah, Mas Taufik. And for the second question, I'm so sorry. Can you repeat it, Mas?
The second question is, how do you confident that the filtration improvement on the customer facility would be the future solution of the application of B40 and B50? Will this still helps the industry if we only rely on the fuel treatment solution?
Until now, what I can say is, until now, it is proven effective for resolve the biofuel, because the characteristic of the biofuel, like hygroscopic, means a lot of water. So if we can remove the water, like the characteristic like solvency, and in consequence, those particle and deposits are transport into combustion, yeah, into our engine. So if we can remove those particle, and also because of the microbacterial growth, because it promotes some sludge. So if we can remove those sludge, so basically until now those filtering activity is proved to be successful to what to minimize the effect of the biofuel. How about in the future? Yeah, it's quite difficult to answer that, because one of the studies showed the effect of the biofuel in producing sludge, yeah, producing sludge, or it will increase exponentially. I think the graphic is exponentially. I mean, until how long this filtering or removing the contaminant will be effective, it depends maybe on the content of the FAME that it's been used. Basically, until now, those customer and those who implementing filters and fuel improvement system are confident until B50, I think. They are confident until B50. But if you ask, are you confident with using B100? I don't. I can answer it now, because because B100 another level of difficulties. I think another level of difficulties that. But until now, until B30 and until B50, right now we are confident to resolve the problem using method like filtering and fuel improvement system. Okay, maybe.
Okay, thank you, Mas Brahma. We have a few questions here from Prayun. The first is, I think it's also related with the previous question. How about the oil drain interval? Do you have to shorten the oil drain interval? You mentioned that not all OEM in Indonesia requiring that, or mentioning that clearly in their manual, but can you share between the marine, mining, and fleet engines, which segment that more stronger, more strong in recommending shorten oil drain interval, Mas?
Okay, so in my experience, I think it's in the fleet and marine industry, I think, because like this, in fleet industry, usually in fleet industry, the lube oil that they using right now in Indonesia, I must say it is the case in Indonesia. I don't know if it also the same in other country. In Indonesia, maybe the oil type that most commonly used in fleet, in fleet industry, I must say maybe still a lot of engine is using maybe API CF or maybe monograde, monograde. Not every engine or the using of multigrade and high API, high API. Maybe it's different in other countries, but in Indonesia there is still a lot of engine or still a lot of unit is using monograde or maybe API below CF, and for those engine the impact of biodiesel is quite quite seen. So especially on those type oil, the oil drain interval will decrease. Can be until half. Can be until half. But in the higher quality lube oil, maybe the impact is not as high those low quality oil, or the lesser quality oil. So basically, the ODI can be happen in the fleet. And one of the OEM in fleet also suggests that they reduce the oil drain interval in one of their service bulletin, like in locomotive in locomotive OEM. One of the OEM suggests in their service bulletin to reduce their oil drain interval. Now the other industry that may implement to shorten their oil drain interval is marine industry. That is because the implementation of adding new filter or change it change it fuel system, change it material of the tank, it's quite difficult, and it's different if you change the material of fuel tank in bus and to change a material in fuel tank in ships, very different size. So the investment is very high, and also the space inside the ship is also limited. So we cannot add a lot of accessories to our engine. So instead of add some accessories to our engine, they choose to just cut the oil drain interval. No big deal. I just need to spend more money to buy oil, yeah, maybe like that.
But if you're talking about the medium speed engines, when you change the oil like 20, 30 drums in time, they're going to be quite costly, yeah?
Yeah, but yeah, it's yes, it is costly, but to change the fuel system and in their ship will be more and more costly.
They don't have choice, yeah?
Yeah, they don't have choice. Need to change that like to buy a new ships maybe. So the cost is
I
the
see.
yeah.
Okay.
So basically like that, I think.
So thank you. The point is, if because of the most sellable oil for this diesel application in Indonesia is still CF and monograde, you can see the impacts. That's the point, ya, Mas, ya.
Yeah.
So you need actually the customer need to reduce the oil drain interval.
Yes.
Okay. So do you have any experience based on? I know you are doing use oil analysis for your customer. How short is the oil drain interval that you can recommend to this kind of case? Let's say the customer is using IPSCF in their truck, uh, uh, 10, 15 liter sum.
Yes. In some in some example, yeah, in the most bad example, I think maybe like from usually they use those oil until 5,000 kilometer, yeah. Usually they use 5,000 kilometer. Maybe in 2000, yeah,
2,000? Wow.
2002 to 2100. Sometimes the oil analysis shows that yeah, there's the increase in oxidation and also now those customer that using the low type of oil, usually the type of engine also the old the
The
old
old one,
series,
yeah,
yeah, the
yes,
old
yes.
one. So basically it's a combining of those two aspects, the fuel aspect and the engine aspect, and also the maintenance aspect from the customer. Yeah, it's hardly to say, but those customer who are price sensitive, price with not very big capital, I think. So yeah, they don't do good maintenance, maybe perhaps, and their type of engine also the older types with older technology, adds with biofuel usage, and they can avoid that. They cannot avoid that because it's a mandatory regulatory from the government. So the example that most ini from 5,000 become 2,000, 2,500.
2,500, yeah, because the oil quality is also quite low and the engine is quite old. Okay,
Yes.
so another question is there any further research on the chemical or additive to handle these biodiesel related problems? So you can do something in regards with the oil rather than rely on the using fuel filtration system.
Yes. Thank you, Mas Taufik, for the question. So actually, yes, there are a lot of research about using chemical or additive used to handle biodiesel properties. But I'm sorry to say that I'm from the field perspective, so I don't have I don't have the competence to answer those questions in details. Maybe Mbak Mia can help me, but as far as I know, yes, there is any further research on the chemical additive that are used to handle biodiesel properties rather than using filtration system. maybe like demulsifier or the biocide, like biocide. We are researching. We in Pertamina also researching that, but in detail I cannot say. I'm so sorry because that's another function to do that.
So the additive is in the biodiesel itself, the customer adding fuel treatment additive.
Yeah, adding fuel treatment additive to their fuel.
See, okay. Thank you, Mas Brahma. I think we have only one slot question left. Anyone like to ask something? So, Mas Brahma, it's been a few years, that Indonesian government apply this mandatory regulation. Just curious, do you see any lubricant players in Indonesia comes up with a special product claiming will perform better in the biodiesel application? Other than yourself,
Yes, there are other, there are others who claim that their products are formalized to be 30 and something like that. Yes, there are others that claim, and we also have those kind of product, but I'm sorry, you are mute, Mbak Mia.
No, please continue, Mas.
Okay, sorry. Yes, there are products that they say that they are formulated for the biodiesel, as well as Pertamina also have those products. But in general, by using the higher quality lubricants that have a better oxidation stability, better dispersancy, better quality of base oil, better quality base oil, and maybe better VI improver, will be enough. Until now, it is still enough, for like using the CI4, maybe CI4 plus. The impact of the biofuel usage in the lube oil is not as great as the lower quality of lube oil. Like that, Mbak Mia.
Okay, thank you, Mas Brahma. I think we don't have any further question left. And please allow me just to summarize a bit that this biodiesel application is affecting more on the mining engines, Mas, especially those with common rail system. For the fleet and medium, low-speed marine, they are more ready, or they are more used to low-quality fuel. And the customer should invest more on the initial cost related to the fuel system instead of the operational short-term solution cost, Mas. Okay, so I think that's the end of our session. Before I end it, thank you, Mas Brahma. Thank you so much for your sharing. And sorry, I forgot to introduce myself. My name is Mia, and I'm the chairman of the membership subcommittee. As I mentioned in the beginning, that this member-to-member sharing is the goal is to elaborate our collaboration, the discussion, so we can really feel the benefit of being the ALIA member. And we encourage you, your colleges, your company, to also participate in the next sharing session. We will have this sharing session minimum once in 2 months. So if you have anything to share, you can share about anything. Especially now we know that the base oil pricing is crazy, and how you manage the situation, especially how you replace the bright stock with anything. If you have anything to share, that would be very beneficial for our network, for Alia. And you can enjoy also a reward everyone with coming with contribution in this sharing session. Their company will have, or themselves will have 5 free tickets to paid webinar. So I know this is might not be so significant, but we are trying to reward your contribution. So again, if you are interested, you just mention it in our Alia network. I hope those that have not joined the network can join us very soon. We can have this kind of discussion anytime because the application is very handy. Yeah, and I hope in that application we do not need to wait for 2 months to have this kind of sharing, and you can really gain the benefit of this networking. Again, thank you so much for joining us, and for Mas Brahma, I am looking forward to see you all in the next 2 months. Thank you. Good afternoon.